Hello, Bindi.
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
You too?
And so we've done this before,
Mm-hmm.
and you had a little bit of success,
Yes.
and you've also been away.
Yes.
So, but before we start, thanks for filling out the forms.
It's okay.
And I'll just go through the medication things again, the medical background.
Mm-hmm.
Are you under any medication?
No.
Are you taking any tablets or any of any kind? Have you seen any doctors?
No.
Okay, so there's no. And what about family background? Is there any family addictive problems or anything like that?
My dad smoked.
Your dad smoked?
Yeah. For
Okay.
about 40 something years.
Okay. And did that influence you at all, do you think?
Possibly.
Possibly?
Yeah.
Okay. And so from the last time that we did the session, you were, how much, do you remember how much you were smoking?
I can't remember. No.
Approximately.
Maybe 10 a day.
10 a day?
Yeah.
Okay. And then after the session, what difference did it make?
I did cut back and stop smoking throughout the day, so I was
Okay.
usually only smoking at night.
Okay.
And when I went overseas, I didn't really smoke. I didn't smoke at all
Mm-hmm.
for half of the trip.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So what happened after that?
I don't know. It's just such an ingrained habit. I think that I just
Right.
go back to having it. I don't know
Right.
why.
Right.
If I knew why, I probably wouldn't smoke.
Right. So were there like triggers or social or?
I don't know. I can't pinpoint it. I really
Mhm.
can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
drinking and smoking.
Drinking and smoking overseas?
Yeah, that's definitely a trigger.
Right.
But I'll even have a cigarette when I'm not drinking. I think it's just a habit.
Okay.
That's what I'll do first thing in the morning is.
Right. And you're doing that first thing in the morning now?
Yeah.
Right. And when you were overseas, how long have you been back from overseas?
3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks?
3
Okay.
weeks, I think. Yeah.
So when you were overseas, did you find that you were also doing it first thing in the morning?
No.
Right. So there was a difference?
Yeah.
So what would you put that difference to, do you think?
Environment.
Environment?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like if we could go into like, before when we first did the session, and at that time, what do you feel that was, how was the smoking impacting your life then? At that time when we did that session, which was a few months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
How was that cigarette smoking impacting your life?
I suppose financially, health wise as well.
Okay. And since then, how has it improved? What are the things that might be the little things that might be better now since that time?
In regards to,
Smoking.
I don't think it is better.
Oh, okay. So you've gone right back to
I think,
it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So back
I
then.
smoke every day, and yeah, smoking
Right.
probably 10 a day again.
Right.
So-
Okay. So it impacted your life back then, and it reduced.
Yeah.
And then you had how much overseas, here and there, or as much?
Yeah,
or
here and there.
Here and there.
Yeah.
But since you've been back, you've gone back to it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So when you're smoking, what is actually happening in those times? What takes place? How do you go about it? Like, are you present? Are you not present? Is it like you're not thinking, or you are thinking?
I guess it is sort of like a switch off to everything.
Okay.
Or I feel like it's myself giving me time. That's how it feels when I go and have a cigarette. It's like
Right. So you've
giving
connected the me time
with having
a cigarette.
Pretty much, yeah. I think
Right.
that's what it is.
Okay. And what would it mean to you to be free of this problem?
A lot. I would be
Okay.
a lot healthier.
You'd be a lot healthier.
I'd have more money.
Right. So that they're pretty big reasons, aren't they?
Yeah.
So how have you noticed the difference in your body since you've gone back to smoking 10 a day, as to compared to when you reduced it quite a lot? What difference have you noticed?
Harder to get up in the morning,
Right.
less energy. I don't feel like I'm in alignment as much as when I'm not smoking.
So when you feel that you're not in alignment as much, and when you feel when you get up you're more tired, are you telling yourself something? Like, are you sort of realizing that
It's like it gets me out of bed. I'll be like, I'll get up and have a coffee and a cigarette.
right,
Yeah. If you get up now, you'll have time to have a coffee and a cigarette before work.
right,
Yeah.
and there's nothing
So it's like it's controlling me.
okay, so something on the outside is controlling you.
Well, no, it's obviously internal that's
Yeah.
controlling me. It's just like it's a wiring in my head that is controlling me that is
Okay.
linked to cigarettes.
Okay, so do
I
you really
suppose.
believe that?
What?
That there's a wiring in your head that's controlling you? Do you
Well, I
believe
don't know. I don't know what it is. That's
Okay.
just what I would explain it like.
that? Okay. Is
If
that
it's external, then it's internal, so
Right.
it must be something
right?
inside.
So
my
is
brain.
it comfortable for you to think that way?
Yeah.
That it must be, could be some wiring in your head? Like, is that a good way to that
Well,
you
maybe just
explain
scrap
it?
and pretend I didn't say that. I don't know what it is. That's just a way to.
Right.
I was trying to explain it, but
Right.
yeah.
But if you were to explain it to yourself, like as you just said, does that make you feel better about
No.
that
Doesn't make me
that
feel
I have
any-
no control and that there's just this thing happening?
No.
I mean, what I mean by is it a better way that it makes sense to you?
It was just you asked me the question. I haven't really thought about it, so.
Okay, right.
But it does control me. Like I'll say, like if I'm planning out my day, then I'll just say I'm staying at home, and I'll be like, okay, well I'll clean this. I'll clean the lounge room, and then I'll clean the kitchen. Then I'll have a
Right.
cigarette. So it's always like in. It's like a reward almost, I suppose, as well.
Okay. So how would you rate the way you're going out of 10? Like if it was like, let's say if we go back to when we did that session, okay, and then you sort of had a little bit of control back then, yeah? So how would you rate back then out of 10 when we did that session?
7, 6 or 7,
7. And how would you rate it now?
maybe a 4,
Right. So 6 or
3 or
7.
4.
6 or 7 meaning that you had
Control.
control,
That's yeah.
and 3 or 4 not control.
Yep. Probably
So
even less.
right.
Because
So,
I keep saying, I'm not after this packet of cigarettes, I'm not going to buy another one.
right.
And then I just I don't know what it is, but I just go and buy one.
Yeah.
And it's like I just have no control over that.
So hearing yourself saying that,
Mm.
how does that sound?
Silly, because I should have control over it.
Okay. Okay. So do you feel therefore that where's your self-regulation with this? Do you feel that you've given it away, or do you feel that you have it and you just paused it? How do you feel about your own self-regulation?
What do you mean?
Or how you regulate yourself? Well, I suppose we could translate regulation into discipline.
Okay. It comes and goes.
So
Sometime one week or one day I'll be very disciplined with myself, or
Right.
in some areas I might be disciplined and then it sort of
Oh.
just fades away. Or
So tell me about the areas that you are disciplined.
eating at the moment.
Eating, okay.
Yes.
So what turned that around?
Just wanting to look good and
Right.
feel comfortable with
So
myself.
when that wasn't regulated, how were you then in your mind about that you wanted to eat better? What were you telling yourself? Do you know what I mean?
No.
Okay. So when I just asked you where are you regulated, where are you disciplined, and you said with food. So when did that happen? that you started to be more disciplined with food?
When I got back from overseas.
Okay, so before you went overseas, you weren't that
I was
disciplined.
disciplined then too. Yeah.
Not as much?
Not as much as I am now.
Okay,
I was pretty disciplined.
pretty disciplined?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go a little bit before pretty disciplined, because I just want to see where those triggers are. Like, what made you go, oh, you know, I better try to somehow discipline? What were the triggers? What were the decisions around there?
Because I had a holiday coming up.
Oh, right. So that was the incentive?
Yeah.
You wanted to look good?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, and that worked.
Mhm.
And so then you started to look good, and you wanted to continue to look good?
Yeah.
Would
And
that
I
be
got
a
really
fair...
sick, and I sort of lost my discipline.
You got really sick when?
Before I went overseas for about 2 months.
Oh, what was that?
Tonsillitis,
Oh.
and just I had a cold, and then that turned into tonsillitis, and
What do you
yeah.
put that down to?
I think my dad dying,
I see.
Yeah.
Right.
because it was in my throat and I wasn't really talking about it
Right.
with anyone, and
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that took you a while to get over. And then your
I'm
food.
still not over it.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So, and how did that affect your diet? That food, increasing your food, eating healthier.
How did it what?
Well, how did it increase your wanting to eat healthier after you recovered from your tonsillitis?
Well, I pretty much went overseas
Straight after that. Okay.
I think I had a week when I felt better,
Oh.
and then I had to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was lucky.
Yeah.
You recovered, isn't it?
Well, I had to take antibiotics.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I
So
didn't
that was
want.
all good. You recovered and
Yeah.
it was all good. No recurrences overseas.
No.
All nice and positive.
Yeah. It was.
Okay. So, so how was your eating overseas?
Could have been better, I suppose.
But you were happy with your being self-regulated and being disciplined?
No, I wasn't being disciplined overseas.
Okay.
No.
But you were, how careful were you with what you were eating?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to gauge how easy it is for you to self-regulate and realise that, okay, that's not very good. I think I'd choose this out of the, the better of the two evils, let's say. So did you find that you were choosing a more healthier version overseas, or you didn't care?
Yeah, I was. I'm trying to think now what we ate and everything. A lot of it was already, we couldn't choose because we're on tours. I would say mostly yes.
Mostly yes?
Yeah.
So do you think your choice, like at the time and before your dad died, when you started to be a bit more careful about choosing to eat the right food, the healthier food, do you think that carried over? And you sort of maintained a little bit while you were overseas?
I guess so.
Continuity a little bit, do you think?
I guess so.
Because when you came back, you went into really healthy food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm asking you. Do you feel that there was a continuity from way back there before your dad died?
Yeah.
Because he died how long ago?
Because I emotionally eat. I know that I emotionally eat. So
Okay.
yeah. So he passed away in May,
Right.
and then yeah,
So you're...
I didn't eat very well for a couple of months, 2 or 3
Okay.
months, I
Okay.
suppose.
Okay. And then when you did, you were eating more healthier food?
Yes.
So the reason I'm asking these questions is to see, because you said that you now eat healthily, and it sounds like you weren't eating very healthy before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
How's it linked to smoking though?
well, because I'm trying to see how you're, when you were saying that you've got more discipline there. Okay. So I'm seeing that there's more discipline with the food there than there is with the smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm establishing the fact that you do have the discipline, but maybe just not on this side of the picture.
Yeah.
On that area that you do have. Okay? Like, for example, with your work. How disciplined are you with your work? Like, do you arrive at work late? Do you sleep in?
Sometimes.
You can't be bothered? Or sometimes? Okay.
At the moment, because I can.
Oh, because you can.
Yeah.
But when you have to,
I'm there on.
you're there on time.
Yeah.
So you can be disciplined.
Yeah.
So
It's like I can be disciplined when I have to.
when you have to.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, if we were to rate it out of 10, your level of discipline when you have to out of 10 would be what?
8.
That's a good number, isn't it?
Room for improvement.
Okay, room for improvement, but 8 out of 10, that's still pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And when you don't really have to be disciplined, where is it out of 10?
0.
Well, it doesn't sound like 0 because you said that, when you
3,
don't have to be...
A 3 or a 4.
Okay, so when you don't have to be at work, you can still arrive at a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
When you don't specifically have to be there at a certain time. Okay, so now I can see that that you are disciplined with work when you need to, and with food, that's about a 7 or 8. You said, okay. So again, that's a pretty high number. But when we go back down to when you don't need to be disciplined, it looks like that's a different bindi here. And then she goes whatever, yeah.
Mhm.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
That's whatever, so I don't care, and that's my resting area, or what you said before about me time. Okay, so does the me time include when I'm not disciplined and I don't have to go to work? Is that kind of like a bit of a me time?
I guess so. Yeah.
You see what I mean, don't you? Yeah.
Kind of, but I don't know. I don't think smoking comes down to discipline. I think it's just a habit.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what we're establishing, that the control isn't there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. So the control isn't there. You've kind of dropped control there because you've kind of labelled that a little bit as the me time. Yeah. But when I need to step up, then I can step up, and that's very easy. And so you have a reward for when you step up, and your reward with your eating is that I look good. Okay. And we did the hypnotherapy before, and you say that it helped you for a while. So what would you like to get out of this?
To stop smoking.
Okay, and do you believe that you can?
No.
And do you think the hypnotherapy might help you?
Yes.
Okay. How many sessions do you feel that you might need?
Until I stop.
Okay, so what do you estimate? 2 or 3 or more?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay, so this is very good for me to gauge this. So then you are giving yourself that parameters about, okay, well, this is where I would need to be with it. Okay. Because while you are now still a young girl, you're socially in the zone of friends and all of that sort of thing. And I think you told me before that you didn't really feel that you needed to be that careful with it because you're among friends.
Mhm.
But now you realise that there's other things you need to be a bit more careful with since you saw your father die, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, before then.
Before
Yeah.
then, yeah. So somewhere you started to see that.
Well, yeah, I don't think it really has that much to do with that because I still think in my head I'm not going to get cancer. It won't happen to me. So, yeah. I don't think that played a part of it. It's just a habit that I don't want to have.
Mm-hmm. So what would have to happen for you to finally say, I definitely want to stop smoking forever, and I definitely never want to pick it up again? What would have to happen for you to come to that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So we've covered everything, I think, from where you are at present, and so let's do the hypnosis part,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe look forward to doing some sessions.
Yep.
After
Sounds
this.
good.
And are you going to be prepared to do a little bit of homework as well?
Yes.
Because I'll give you some tasking to do.
Okay.
And it's I remember last time when you did some tasking and it helped you, didn't it?
I think so.
So I'll give you some
think that's
tasking to do.
Okay.
And but it'll be important for you to do this because when you hear yourself as you're responding with the hypnotherapy, you will hear the different things that'll come up, and then you'll hear my suggestions for the tasks for you to do. And when you keep on to that pathway, it'll be sort of like a reminder for you to keep yourself a little bit on track to get to the result that you want.
Cool.
Sound good?
Yes.
Fantastic.